Hello and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses. It is time for the opposition preview, looking ahead to this weekend or this Friday night's Forest game. Of course, I'm joined by my good friend Wolfie from Forest Fan TV. How you doing, mate?
Mate, I'm buzzing. Forest at 8th. Beat you, we go 5th. Forest could do a Leicester this year, mate. Forest could do it. No, I'm not going that far. But yeah, no, I'm buzzing, mate. I could do without this game and seeing Steve Cooper again, but our paths are gonna cross.
Well, you say this doing a Leicester term is used way too often now, and it can't be said for Forest. But you can't talk about Leicester like that when you're talking about Forest. Come on, I mean, you
Mate, are
said
you
if you win,
joking?
you go fifth. If you win, you go fifth, but we go above you, don't we? If we win,
Mate, you
no,
might want
we
to
don't.
recalculate your maths. Yeah,
No,
I'm saying this. I'm saying
we
this
go
to my
ninth.
mate the other
We
day.
go ninth. We go ninth.
Take it
We go
back.
ninth.
Take it back, mate. You
Yeah,
can't overtake us. You can't
we'll be
overtake
1
us. We
point. We'll
play.
be, we'll be 1 point behind you if we win. 1
Doesn't
point.
matter. It doesn't matter. But no, what you just said there, the whole thing of doing a Leicester is actually not as good as what Forest did. Because when Forest won the league, they did it from being promoted straight into winning it, Champions League back to back, right? Whereas Leicester, you came up, you had your great escape season, and then you did it. So it's
You
not as
didn't
good
have
as
the
what
super
Forest did.
teams. You didn't have the super teams like we had that we
Are
were
you
up against.
joking? Go look at the Liverpool team that was dominating in the late 70s and then tell me super teams. That was a super team. Not that I was alive to see it, but Ant tells me about it a lot. So yeah, different eras, different scenarios, but it still has to be respected. I respected what you guys did, Locks. I was all for Leicester winning it because I had the fear that my brother's team Spurs were gonna do it that year. The Spurs to the Spurs. So yeah, nah, fair play to Leicester. I keep saying to you, I've got no beef with your boys. I just have beef with one man.
Well, I knew being on a video with the Forest fan, we'd end up talking about the past. So there we go. There we go.
Always,
Yeah.
always, mate.
Talking about your 2 stars, mate. Come on, come on. Obviously, this Friday we play each other. This Friday night football, live on Sky. I'm assuming.
It is,
It's
yeah.
a big game, the Cooper Derby. Before we actually get into the game, then, mate, I wanted to ask you because the last time I think we were on a stream together, it was at the start of the season, and you were adamant that, well, if I said to you then that we'd have just won 2 on the bounce, we could go 8th or ninth, sorry, with another win, you'd be surprised, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think the only one that surprised me so far this season was the Bournemouth result. Because traditionally, well, Forest haven't beat Bournemouth since like 2015. Cooper hasn't beat Bournemouth. The Southampton one didn't surprise me. The manner of it did. As I said to you before your game, this should be your only away win of the season because this is the only team he beat in the first year with us. I've been more surprised at the amount of goals you've scored, if I'm being honest. But most of the results you've had, I've kind of called them, and you can lay witness to that, mate. We've talked before most of your matches. I just think my kind of synopsis now of where Leicester are is that your squad is actually better than the one Forest had when we came up. And I think the additional bonuses you've got, like that Bournemouth win, the extra goals you're scoring, is not from the manager, it's from the quality of some of your players. Don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of my reading of it. What I'm seeing in your matches is still the same skeleton style. It's almost been like, how can I explain this? Watching you throughout the season, I'm starting to see Maraska ball eroding and Cooper ball coming in. And now at times, I almost feel like if you look at the second half that you had against Southampton, first half was Cooper ball, 100% Cooper ball. And I feel like in the second half, it was a case of the players were like, you know what, this manager is clueless. We're just going to have to play football how we were taught last season and get on with it. So it's been close to what I expected. Just the Bournemouth result for me was the shocking one, the one that surprised me the most, mate.
I agree with you in some parts. I think that we are. you know, Cooper's in a good situation because of the players he's got available. I agree that the starting 11, especially, is better than Cooper's starting 11 at Forest the year you came up. Also, we have that added bonus, I suppose, that the players know each other. Most of them do. I know
Yeah,
you had a bit of a crazy
yeah.
squad in that first year. Um, but also what you said about the style of play, yeah, 100%. I mean, that second half against Southampton was textbook Enzo last season. That
Mm.
it was almost identical. There were some changes, of course, but it was very very similar. And yeah, the leaks and rumors that have come out of the club over the last few weeks is that Cooper is very much he likes to get his players' opinions on how we play, and I think the rumor has it is that some of the senior players are a bit taken back by that and think that
Mm.
maybe there's not so much respect there because the manager's asking them for ideas and stuff. Do you think that that rumor could be true?
100%. I'll tell you why. I was watching your cup game. Who was it where you went to penalties with? I can't remember. You're playing some crappy
Warsaw,
team.
Warsaw.
Yeah. And the bit that shocks me was at the end when it came to the penalty shootouts. Cooper handed over a piece of paper to I can't remember who it was. Did he give it to?
I think it was Connor
Cody.
Cody.
Yeah, Cody. And he then got him to talk the players through the penalties. And I was like, what is that? And, hearing all these rumors and things, well, yeah, it does make sense. I don't think Cooper's got the authority with the players. And I don't blame them, to be honest, mate. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've said to you pre-season, I've seen happen. The stuff where I said that Cooper won't start playing until you go a goal behind, and then he'll take the shackles off and try and get in. I've seen that in most of your matches. Cooper's substitutions are atrocious. He'll play players out of position. He'll also isolate players, lock them out. You've had that with Ricardo Pereira. You've had that with Fatu. You've had that with a couple of other guys. And he's playing to his form book. But yeah,
Yeah.
I fully believe those rumors, and I think that was clear in flashing, bright lights in that penalty shootout.
Yeah, I'd agree, mate. I think also it must suck. The one thing that I do kind of feel for Cooper on slightly is that since he came in, every bit of press that one of our players has done with external media, Sky, Talksport, all they do is speak so highly of Maresca. And like as a manager, you got of these the manager of these players, you got to think like, God, bloody hell, these guys are saying all these good things about the former manager and nothing really about me. Because even when
Mm.
they're asked directly about the style of play under Cooper, they're a bit like timid and a bit, they don't really say too much.
There is no
Um,
style, mate. There is no style.
no, and for me, there's no coincidence that Ricardo Pereira, Yannick Vestergaard, those two in particular have been completely isolated, put in the bomb squad. I think you guys at Forest
Yeah.
called it,
Yep.
and they are two players that were like really instrumental to the style of play last season under Enzo. Harry Winks was even dropped against Bournemouth. Mavididi started the season and struggled to come into the team straight away, even though the fans
Mm.
were like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" So, where from your experience of Cooper, where do you think he will go? Because a lot of us fans are looking at this now, this point in time, as a crossroads because he's in the second half against Southampton gone back to very much a similar style to last season. Does he double down now on that? Does he go forwards and think, right, this is the style that we need to stick with?
No.
Or does he go back to his ways and only switch to that Enzo style when he's desperate? Because that's how I
Yeah.
saw it against Southampton. I thought he's desperate and he's gone to that style.
Yeah, that's what he will do. I mean, I would say you guys are coming into what you would call a favorable set of fixtures, obviously barring the Forest game, and I think,
That's favourable.
yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, but if I were you guys, I wouldn't be looking at it like that because Cooper struggles to be the favorite on a football pitch.
Yes.
As I said to you, and we spoke before the Arsenal game, I fully expected you to compete, and you guys got close to winning it because I said to you before the season, he is in his element against the Cartel Six, where he's not expected to do anything, especially against the likes of, say, Villa and Tottenham, where they play a high line. He can low block and counter attack. Where he's going to now be found wanting is we saw it in the Southampton game. You were 2-0 down at half time. Yeah. If the players hadn't taken it into their own hands, you would have lost that game.
Yeah.
You'll probably see it in the Forest game. I expect the Leicester fans to look at this and think we need to target it. Local derby, all that stuff. He will struggle to be the aggressor in these matches. And I think have you got Ipswich coming up as well?
Yep.
Soon, yeah, that's the one. I think that's the key game for you guys where you will learn everything you need to know about Cooper. Irrespective of what I think, if he goes as the aggressor against Ipswich, then maybe he is going to change his ways. But he is too defensively minded, mate. He's way too defensively minded to do it. And I don't know if he's got it in him to be the aggressor. I did not see it in the Premier League at Forest. I have only seen signs of it at Leicester
Yep.
this season when you've been behind. His philosophy is quite simple. I want to be 0-0 in the 70th minute, and then I want to make some changes and maybe sneak a 1-0 win. But that hasn't panned out in a lot of the games because you've gone behind, and it's forced him to escalate up his timeframes. So that I don't think he changes, mate. I don't think it's within him. He's not savvy enough.
Again, what you're saying is true though, because every game where we've not been the favourite, we've done, competed.
Yeah,
In the Everton game where we were expecting to, well, hoping to win, we went 1-0 down, drew 1-1.
yeah.
The Palace game, again, underdogs. Well, at the time, I know they're shit now, looking back at it, but at the time we
Mm,
didn't know how good they would be. We went 2-0 up. Yeah, 2-0 up, and then when we were then the favourites, we capitulated and drew 2-2.
absolutely. Because that's his other
Arsenal
thing,
2-0
Lux.
down, we went up to 2-2, and then suddenly we're like, oh, Leicester are in this, and then we we lose 4-2. You know what I mean?
That's his other thing, Lux, is that when he takes the lead, he doesn't want to push for that cushion goal. He
Yeah.
wants to stick with what he's got. And I think I remember that against it was Palace, wasn't it? Didn't he make a couple of
He
stupid
brought Cody on
substitutions?
for a
Yeah,
winger. Yeah.
yeah, and then he gives away the penalty. That's textbook Cooper. That's textbook Cooper. He hasn't got that aggressiveness in him to say, right, if we go and get another goal and make this game 3-0, it's dead and buried. That's not in his philosophy. And that's the problem. So he has
Well,
it both
another
ways.
thing. Yeah. No, I hear you, mate. I mean, another thing Anil asked yesterday on our call-in show. He said he was surprised that when we equalised against Southampton, we went for it for another. And I said, is that because it was
And
11 v
then
10?
yeah,
I thought if that was 11 v 11, I expected him to probably shut up shop and just
yeah,
play for the
100%.
draw, which would have wound a lot
100%.
of people up.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Forest, mate. I mean, you have had a good start to the season. I know you wanted, or not that you expected, but you did want to be around where you are now anyway. But it is still a surprise from some people the way you are where you are. Another win as well last night when we film this now on Tuesday. Another win last night against Palace. What are you thinking, mate? Where can Forest finish this season?
Hey, I'm loving life. I can't lie to you. I'm absolutely loving life. But I'm also very apprehensive. Look, I'm long in the tooth with Forest, mate. Every time Forest start to put something together, Forest can do a Forest and end up blowing up against a crappy team like Leicester this Friday, for example. That could happen. But it hasn't been happening under Nuno. Nuno's sort of look, our big issues last season were conceding from dead balls and corners. At the moment, we've conceded 0 goals from over 46 corners or something like that. He's addressed it. He's brought Milenkovic in, who is one hell of a defender. And everything started from the back. What he's done, he's just reprogrammed the team, fixed the defensive line. I will argue, and I don't care what people say, that Forest have the best 2 centre back pairing in the Premier League. And everyone's like, oh, what about Gabriel and Saliba and all
Sorry,
this?
say that
Well,
again.
Forest have the best 2 centre back pairing in the Premier League. You can laugh all you want, mate, but tell me who's better. Don't give me a
Gabriel and
Kaylee.
Saliba. Gabriel and Saliba.
Really? So have they conceded more goals than Forest in a team that's meant to be more attacking, where they face less defensive situations than Forest do?
It's different, mate, because Leicester have scored more goals than like some of the big clubs. Yeah, we haven't got the best attack, have we? Come on. Come
No,
on.
but you will see on Friday, Milenkovic and Murillo, what a pairing they are.
Murillo, class. He will be at a massive club soon, in my opinion. I've really
And
enjoyed watching
Milenkovic is
him.
outperforming him. That's how good Milenkovic is. trust me on this one, mate. Look, I do say some fucked up shit at times, right? But I am telling you, and I
I know.
and I think there's a lot of the Forest fan base that will agree with me on this centre back pairing. Do not sleep on them. This is the route to our success so far this season. Solid defensive line and then pace when we attack. So look, I'm back to your point. I am more than happy with where Forest are. I predicted eighth at the start of the year. We're sitting exactly eighth. We beat you. We could go fifth. The table's still too congested right now.
Yeah.
As you say, if you win, you could go ninth. If you lose, you're dragged back into it. It will still be until probably Christmas before we start to get a feel when the table stretches. So, but as things stand now, I love what Nuno's doing. He's progressed us from Cooper ball, which is low block, turgid football, into a mid block, counter attacky ish team. And then from there we build on. And mate, I'm loving it. But I'm a Forest fan. I know there's pain around the corner at some point.
Well, how do you see this week? How do you see Friday's game going then? Because you know Nuno now, you know Cooper. How do you see the game playing out?
I have no idea, bro. You know how I confidently tell you what Leicester are going to do week in, week out? Well, this is the only scenario where I haven't seen Cooper like play a Forest team in a Premier League. He's been in our dugout when he's been playing. I expect that he has an axe to grind with Maranaka, and this one will mean a lot to Cooper. And I think, like contradicting what I've said before, he's going to try and take the game to Forest. You're at home. He knows there's a little bit of a rivalry between the two clubs. He needs to try and stick two fingers up to Marinakis. If he does that, that's his downfall, because that will suit us. He is better off against Forest playing his low block formation, because we struggled to break down a low block. That's the formula for you guys to win. If you want to win it, low block us and then get your Cooper luck on the counter attack. I just don't think his pride will let him do that. And I think he will try and take it, which will leave gaps in your half, which we can exploit with our counter attack, and that will suit us. But he is one of the luckiest managers alive, mate. Like, I've seen some of your stats where you've had maybe one
Well,
or two shots
his
on
looks
goal
weren't
and
were
you've
there.
converted them. You know what I mean? Like Spurs game, you had your first shot you scored. I think the same with Southampton actually at the weekend. You scored with your first shot. He
Yep.
gets a lot of that. He gets a lot of that in his time. But I just think his pride may cost you this game on Friday.
I was going to say that. Can you see do you see that happening? Maybe that he makes some questionable decisions because of you know, the I don't know, the atmosphere and in the back of his
The
head,
occasion.
former Forest, the occasion.
Yeah.
Do you think that will take over a little bit?
I think he will never admit to it. He'll always say the right things PR wise in front of the cameras, yeah.
Mm.
But I know what he's like from speaking to people behind the scenes and stuff, yeah. His pride and his ego will take over on this one.
You know
He
what is
will
interesting to me? Because after the Southampton game, in one of his interviews, he said something about like Ricardo Pereira will get game time soon. It wouldn't surprise me if he threw him into that game,
yeah,
and then he won't outright say it, but it's almost as if he'll try and, if we lost, try and pin it on.
I told you
Oh well,
so. Yeah,
I've put in the players that you want, and we've lost. Like that's,
exactly.
you know what I mean? It feels that way to
He's
me a
done
little
that
bit.
at Forest. He's done that at Forest a couple of times, mate. He's done that at Forest. Like when we had Scarpa in there, he'd throw him in the wrong games. Be like, well, I didn't want him, and here he is. He never played some of our loanees. He hates loanee players. Barde was never played. He's now being scouted by Real Madrid. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he does that. I don't think he'll do it against Forest. I think this one means too much to him. I think
Yeah,
what he will do when his back's against the wall, and I don't think it is right now because he's bought a little rope with the back-to-back wins. He always turns to the players he trusts, yeah, which are never your best players, ever. And I think that would be his failsafe. Had you lost to Southampton, had you not beaten Bournemouth, you would have seen him go to a back five. Um, he still wants his favorite formation is a 5-2-1-2. I'm surprised he hasn't reverted to that with you guys. That bit has surprised me a little. And that's why I was surprised he hasn't played Vestergaard in at all. I would have thought he would have brought him in into the three. But yeah, I just think his pride and his arrogance will come through, but he never shows it in the media. He never shows it in the
No,
media.
no. That's the thing that some Leicester fans don't see, the happy clappers, because they're very much like, "Oh, he's so honest and like he's such a nice guy." And but
Told you,
I
don't
see
they?
through it. I see through it. Behind closed
Yeah.
doors, it just looks like there's an ego there, and pride, and he just doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. I
I'll
don't
tell
know.
you what, mate. I think I might have said this to you before the season started. What he's very good at is saying that they were shit. Yeah.
Mm.
And I've seen him do it in a couple of interviews. I think I saw his interview after Southampton. It was I can't look away from the first half. No, you can, Cooper, because that's your style. But he'll say it to present himself as this open critic of himself, about his football. And you will have a section of your fan base that will lap it up. Look at this honest manager. It's so refreshing. No one wanted the job when we had our PSR issues coming and what have you. But he came, he's taken it on, and look how honest he's being. So he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. But people who know him behind the scenes, there's a different Cooper.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
This has
Score
turned into
prediction,
a
mate.
Cooper bashing, mate. I didn't want it
Yeah,
to,
that's what I'm
but
trying. Yeah, I'm going to move on because
let's
what I
move
will
away
say
from
about
it.
Cooper. Yeah, what I will say about Cooper is I have had my thoughts on him all season, and I still have very similar thoughts on him. I will lay off him after back-to-back wins. I think it's only fair, even though the wins have been questionable. The Bournemouth game we didn't really deserve to win. We should have been behind at full time. They hit the woodwork like 3 times. The Southampton game was an embarrassment of a first half. We reverted back to Enzo ball in the second, and we won. Um, but I will lay off him. Back-to-back wins. As long as we win games, mate. I mean, that is really all I care about.
Mm.
In the present, in the future, there are concerns, but I'll lay off him for a bit. Score prediction, mate. I'm gonna say 1-1, mate. What are you saying?
1-0 Forest. We only win by a goal. We don't
So
score
you will be
many.
the first team that Leicester don't score against this season.
Oh my god, I've heard that stat. My god, that's like the Brentford we score in the first minute stat. It means nothing. It means nothing. I just don't think you'll break down our defense. You've got Grandad Vardy up front. Milenkovic will swallow him up. I look the players I rate on your team. Buonanotte. I mean, it's got to piss you lot off that he's only on loan. He's quality. Um, Batu has to start. If Cooper's stupid enough not to play him, then I'd sack him on the spot. I just think your weakness for me is your left back. I don't rate Christiansen that highly. I think we can get in on that side with him, but I do rate your keeper as well. So I don't
Yeah,
think there'll be many goals in it. I think your midfield's still not balanced. I don't. Sometimes he's bringing a Harry Wanks in and out, and then you got Skip in there and then Didi. I don't know if the balance is quite right there yet. So it'll be a tight game. It'll be 1-0 Forest.
yeah. You wanna place any non-monetary bets on who will score for Forest?
Murillo scored, that would be just justice. I'd love Murillo. I
Murillo,
think
come on.
Murillo, mate, he's so due a goal. I mean, the easy choice is Chris Woods, but I think it could be Callum Hudson-Odoi with one of his cheat code finesses in. It will take something special to beat your keeper. I do, joking aside, rate your keeper very highly. Callum
Yeah, he's
Hudson-Odoi, mate.
quality. Well, that segues us nicely over to combined 11. I want to put together a combined 11 to see how many Forest players, how many less players, which manager gets in. That'll be interesting. I can guess who it will be. Let's start straight away, mate. In goal. Now, I know you probably want to make the case for Sal's, but I think it's unquestionable. I think Mads Hummels has been the best goalkeeper
No, I'll go with
in the
your keeper,
Premier League
mate.
this
I'll
season.
go. Look, Sells is in a real hot form right now, but longevity, long term, I rate Mads. I'd go with Mads. I think his distribution just tips Sells, so I'd go with him.
Okay, let's get into back four, mate. I want to go with the back four. Right back. Now, I would love to have made the case for Ricardo Pereira.
Not seen him, mate.
But under these circumstances, obviously, I can't do it. James Justin, some Leicester fans seem to love. I'm not so keen. Who are you putting in at right back?
I'll let Einar, mate. Your quality, real character. He's got to go in for me, mate. I mean, I'll save you the hassle. The whole back four for Forest goes in. There's no one who goes in for me from your end. Christiansen not good enough. Alex Moreno goes in.
What about
Murillo and
JJ at
Malenkovic.
left back?
I don't think he gets in ahead of Moreno, mate. Moreno, we got him on loan from Villa. He's quality. I know Justin can play left back, but again, sample size for this season's too small. He only did it in the second half against Southampton. I can't give you the back four, mate. Look, we got the second least goals conceded, the lowest XG against M&M men, as I call them, Murillo and Milenkovic. You can't. There's no. You can't. Coley, I've been impressed with. Look, I'm not saying your centre backs are bad. Coley, I
I know.
like.
Yeah.
Sideshow Bob. I mean, he nearly scored a wonder own goal against Southampton the other day.
Yeah.
There's always a mistake in him. I remember when you went down in the own goals at one stage. I think he was your top goal scorer with own goals. So, he's improved though, but they don't lace the boots of Milenkovic and Murillo for me.
No, no,
If
Connor
we've got to
Cody.
be Connor Cody.
No,
I mean, he's good at coming on in the last minute and screwing up against Palace, but nah, he's too slow. He's too slow. Look, if we're going to be diplomatic about it, I'll give you JJ at left back.
Yeah.
Just,
All right, let's do that.
to be nice.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Moving into midfield, let's just go with a 4-2-3-1. So two
Well, what are the
sixes or
rules
eight,
here? Are we
whatever.
saying
Yeah,
available
6 or
players? No, we're saying available players or not? Or
I want to
anyone?
go off this season. This season. Yeah, if
Okay.
someone's injured now but they've played earlier in the season, yeah. Or suspended, whatever.
Okay.
6, 8, I don't really care. You know, this ain't a tactic. So yeah, I don't mind. So who
At the
do you want
moment,
to
we're
put in?
playing Yates and Elliot Anderson. I'll
Okay.
take Anderson. I think he's pure quality. I don't care who you want instead of Yates. I don't rate Yates that highly. So whoever you want alongside that, I'll give you one there.
I'm not his biggest fan, but I think on performances and what he's done so far, I'll put Wilfred and Ndidi in there, mate. I'll put Wilfred and
Okay.
Ndidi.
Uh,
Unless I'm really playing around with it and I'm putting Buonanotte because I know you don't want to give up the 10. I know you don't want to give up the 10. I won't
uh,
do that. I won't put Buonanotte in an 8. I won't do it.
I mean, just for the record, Sangare would get in, but he's been injured after the second game. So, but yeah,
Not
okay.
played enough. Not played enough.
Okay, so
Wilfred
who
and
you put
Ndidi,
in?
mate.
And Diddy in.
And Ndidi.
And Diddy and Elliot Anderson 6 and the 8. Okay, let's get to the
It's not.
fun
It's not.
positions.
They do all right in the Prem. I think them two together. Be a
Yeah, that
decent
could
enough
work. You know, I was looking at it. Yeah, that'd work.
partnership. Right. Let's go for the 10 now. So you're going all out, Gibbs White, yeah?
It's got to be Gibbs White, mate.
Not
England.
Buonanotte? Is Gibbs White better than Buonanotte?
Look, I want Buonanotte in. So let's put him on the right-hand side. Let's be a little creative here, and he can float into the middle. Agree on that?
Yeah, I mean,
He can't go in
ideally,
ahead of Gibbs White. Again, sample size locks is too small. Cooper, let's be
I
honest,
know.
Cooper hasn't played him in every game. He had an ankle injury or whatever it was that Cooper was
Groin,
probably
yeah.
faking.
Groin.
So, you know, I want him in. I've been impressed with him. So I'd put him in. But you want to get Fatu on the right is why you're hesitating on this one.
Well, let's say Gibbs White in the 10. Who are you
Yeah.
putting on the left?
Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah.
You gonna
Talk
make a
to me
case
about
for
Hudson-Odoi,
Mavididi?
mate. Tell me about Hudson-Odoi, mate. Because obviously, I remember, we all remember him obviously being a youngster at Chelsea. It raised an eyebrow when he went to Forest, but how's he been this season?
He's not been as good this season. He was good up until the Liverpool match where he scored the winner there. Last 2 games, a little bit lacking, if I'm being critical of him. But he's a confidence player, and he's just got this cheat code cut in that Cooper should know about. As he cuts in, he's got one of the best finesses in the league from outside the box. That's just his way of scoring. If you saw the Palace match on Monday, they doubled up on him every time he cut in, and he couldn't get the shot off. So Cooper should, if he's smart enough, do that as well. But that will then create pockets of space elsewhere. So, look, I rate him so highly. He's still only like 22, mate. It feels like he's been around forever. I like Mavididi as well, though. I'm not adverse if we had to share some kind of positions, around that side. We could put a Mavididi / Callum Hudson-Odoi. But I think Callum Hudson-Odoi is more proven in the Premier League. Again, you can fall back and say that Cooper hasn't used Mavididi correctly or in enough games. Some of the setups he was doing was stupid. And Mavididi was outstanding for you in your Bournemouth. Was it Bournemouth? I think it was, where he almost played him off the park. So my case is consistency. Callum Hudson-Odoi has it, but I like Mavididi.
Let's put Hudson-Odoi in there.
Okay.
I am going to put, look, Leicester fans, if you're watching this, right, don't come at me for leaving Fatawu out this team. We've got to be fair. We're sharing positions here. I think Buonanotte this season has been exceptional. He's been better than Fatawu over a bigger, course of the season. So, and I have got to get Buonanotte in. I do like Gibbs White, so I'm going to put Buonanotte on the right. However, I think Mr. Jamie Vardy still gets in the number 9 over Chris Wood.
How many goals has he got this season?
2.
Chris Wood's got 5.
I know. Yeah, I know. I just think.
Can I just say though, on Fatawu, again, another player I highly rate. Cooper's fault not playing him. So otherwise, he should have a shout to get in, but small sample size.
But
yeah,
if we're going on stats, though, sorry, just to interrupt with the whole Chris Wood Vardy thing. If we are going on stats, then surely there's a case to say that Buonanotte should be in the 10 over Gibbs White.
Again, sample size. Cooper hasn't played him in every game. Ankle injury.
No, but he's played the same number of games as Gibbs White.
Look,
he's got more goals, more assists.
Look, I don't think that one's debatable, mate. Like, I want Buonanotte in, but not in the 10. Gibbs White takes the 10. Unless you want to push Gibbs White in. I'll tell you what we can do. If you want to ditch Ndidi, Gibbs White can play in an 8. We could go Anderson, Gibbs White in the 6 and 8. I'll give you Buonanotte in the 10. You can have Fatawu on the right. And then we'll have to have Chris Wood up front.
I think that's a deal, mate. I'll give you that.
Not a bad team, mate. It's not a bad team.
So we're saying Anderson, Gibbs White, right? And then Buonanotte in the 10, Fatawu on the right, Hudson-Odoi on the left, and Chris Wood as the 9.
Yeah.
That's a good team, mate. That's a good
team, mate. That wins the league. That does the Leicester / Forest.
Diplomatic in the end.
Hey, that's the most diplomatic one I've done in a while,
Mate, you always have to do this. I've done these with Just Joe, with Leicester last season, Leicester League, and you have to trade certain positions. Yeah. Although Just Joe is unreasonable, and he would say,
he is, mate. He is.
Even now, Just Joe.
I think his whole team gets in ahead of Forest as well. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he speaks as if they've got Messi and Neymar on the wing. Honestly, it's to that extent. But all right, mate. Thank you so much, Wolfie. Appreciate you coming on the channel. What, obviously, to anybody, I mean, a lot of my viewers are aware of you, but if anyone isn't aware, what have you got coming up on Forest Fan TV? Because I imagine you've got some Leicester stuff coming up.
Yeah, we're doing a fatal 4-way or something. Me, you, Chappie. We got Ragsy on. We got Anil on. That will be Thursday night. I think you'll be co-streaming it on your channel as well, won't you? So yeah, that's gonna be fun. I've got the watch along coming in on Friday. I think I've got a preview coming with Chappie. Man, he's a bit of a crybaby at the moment. But yeah, a lot of build up for the Forest Leicester match over at Forest Fan TV. So yeah, make sure you join us, show some love, and make sure you're liking and subscribing to Locks, man, because putting in the hours, he's putting in the hard work. Well worth it. And for me, the most honest Leicester YouTuber that's out there compared to some others that I've seen. So, keep doing what you're doing, bro. You're doing a cracking job, and keep it honest, because people respect, even if they don't agree with your opinion, at least they respect that you're not sitting on that vanilla fence and saying what you need to say, unlike some others, mate.
Yeah, there are some others of them, mate. Trust me, especially in the Leicester scene. Coming up tomorrow night, Fox's Den, episode 8. As usual, that'll be on Wednesday, 7 p.m. And then the big one, Friday night, it is, of course, Match Day Live with myself, Luke, and Anil, with hopefully watching a Leicester City win against Nottingham Forest. Who knows? Who knows? As Wolfie said, make sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for Fox's Den. Cheers. Bye-bye.